So are we actually going to do this? Yeah, we are. Let's go. My friends, this is the week. This is the week. It's the week of back to school from us, and I do not know how we got here so fast. It feels like this summer just flew by. I don't know about you, but it's been a whirlwind of a summer. It's been very good, but so busy and so awesome. And now we are here. We are here. We are starting school literally as we speak. My kiddos go back to school this week, and if you don't know, I have six kids. We are aged in school between senior year, sophomore, two in eighth grade, and two in sixth grade. So it is going to be a busy full year for us. We have three different schools in two different districts and three in football over for this fall. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be a lot, but it's gonna be really fun. And I wanted to do this episode not just to tell you all the things about me, of course, like that's not what this is about, but what it is about is that it's a lot to navigate and it's a shift. And one of the things I have seen over the years in my own business, as well as in the women that I work with, when there's transition, sometimes things get a little chaotic and we can get real burnt out in the process or feel like we're behind. And number one, I don't want anyone to ever feel like they are quote unquote behind, because what imaginary race are you in, my friends? And why did you put yourself in it? Let's remove yourself from this imaginary race where you're behind. And let's put you in your own category where no one is behind, but we are making strategic choices. So whether you are like me and you have a bunch of kiddos going back to school, maybe you have a kid going to college. One of my friends, she's dropping a kiddo off for college right now. Another one has a kid going to the military. There's a lot of transitions going on, or maybe you don't have kids and you just got back from traveling and vacation. One of our clients in Empowered for More just was like, I just back from being out of town for 84 days and I got to get back to real life and my routines. And so there's always some sort of transition throughout the year. We always say, oh, I'm waiting for things to get back to normal. Well, getting back to normal can be pretty chaotic and disruptive, to be honest. And so, what I want you to use with this episode is to just kind of hear some practical tips, advice, and thought provoking things that hopefully will help you to feel like, okay, instead of it feeling like chaos, it feels expansive and successful. So back to school, back to business, and resetting for the success that you want in this next season is only going to come about from intentionality. So again, I'm 100% in the weeds with you as a mom of six kiddos here. And already I had one call me this morning and be like, Mom, I forgot to tell you. And then this is how my week is going to go. I'm going to get a ton of, hey, Mom, I forgot to tell you, but I need XYZ by tomorrow morning. Amazon is going to love us. That and what trips to Walmart. So I'm just kind of assuming that's where we're going to be for the rest of this week. And I want you to feel, see, like this is the kind of real life practical coaching and conversations that we have when we work together in Empowered for More or one-on-one, because we are not just like one track people, especially us as women. We are carrying all the things at all the time. So while I'm thinking about the school list of supplies, I'm also thinking about my upcoming workshops and what are my goals, and also renewals for clients who are coming up for renewals, and who I talked to who said they were thinking about joining at the end of the summer. I've got all of that in my brain at the same time, as well as what are we making for dinner tonight. Okay. So it's business and life working together, and your business has to work for your life, not your life works for your business. That is truly what it is. So can we give ourselves, the first thing that I want you to do is to give yourself permission to pause during the transition. When the kids are going back to school, I always intentionally keep my calendar extremely light and give myself permission to focus on them and supporting them with their transitions. Because if I can get them feeling good about their routines, if I can give them my full attention, that keeps the mom guilt away. That keeps this overwhelm away. And then I'm not also disappointing clients because I have to reschedule things or whatever it might come up. So give yourself that permission to pause and be intentional, prioritizing your family during the transition couple of days or weeks, however long you need. I definitely recommend a transition week if you can to build it into your calendar. I almost always take off the first day of school and just call it a veg day. I need one where all the kids are gone. I'm not sure what I'm going to do. It's very open-ended, but I just give myself this permission to be like, whatever I need that day, if I need to just lay in bed, if after I drop the kids off to school, if I want to prep a bunch of meals and do freezer stuff, which I'll talk about later, if I want to deep clean the house, whatever I have the energy for, I'm giving myself that openness. I've done this every year since the twins went to preschool that first year and I had all six in school. It was like magic. I was like, wow, what is this new life? It's so quiet in my house. So just me and the dogs, gonna hang out and enjoy that first day back to school and just give that self like permission to pause and rest and celebrate the fact that we had an amazing summer. We made lots of memories. We grew both the business and grew as a family. So that's number one. These intentional pauses can really make the biggest impact in your year, actually. During these intentional pauses are oftentimes when inspiration hits, ideas come so easily, and you're just like, yes, or you get that renewed energy. It's really important to take those pauses throughout the year, and I highly recommend you integrate them regularly, at least every quarter. That is number one priority for you if you've never done that. So while yes, I am taking some pauses and time to focus on the family, that doesn't mean I'm not thinking about the business. And I am also preparing for what I would say would be a fall sprint. And I like calling it a sprint because it's not going to be a new lifestyle. That's not by any means what I want it to be, but it is an intentional back to school, back to work season for many of my potential clients where they're focused on what they need to do in order to see growth in their business and they're ready to get help now. They've been like delaying that support request for this summer because they were in that same space of like, well, I'm focusing on the kids and when it's, back to school, then I'll be ready to invest in my business. And that's very typical of my industry. So I know having that prepared readiness for an extra intensive time over the next 4 weeks where we are going, everyone else is going back to school. I know that is the perfect opportunity for me to make sure my marketing and efforts are matching up to where my people are ready to take action. So if that is same for you, where you're telling me, hey, my audience is going to turn into ready to buyers in September-ish time, what can I do right now to prepare for the sprint that I want to be taking to bring in an influx of clients to take some more work on whatever it might be. I start with resetting my Trello boards for projects and priorities. That is the first thing I do is I just want to sit down and say, okay, where do I need to reset and clean up? Because as we get going, we are working in our systems, sometimes using them, sometimes not, seeing where the efficiency is, seeing where it's gotten, hey, this is an outdated SOP, or maybe I'm done with this project. I need to move on. Maybe I need to reorganize what I put together in a more streamlined capacity. So that's one of the things that I'm working on in these more quieter times in my calendar. And speaking of calendar, I'm going to sit down as well over this transition in the season and really map out what is the next 4 weeks, not 4 weeks, 4 months look like for the fall. September, October, November, December is very busy in our household because of all the sports games, this back to school. Plus, my retreat is in September, which by the way, there's still a spot available if you're interested, DM me retreat or shoot me an email and find out the details because I do have one more spot open for that. But that's coming up in September. There's so many things. So I need to sit down with my calendar and mark out all the random teacher days that our schools do, where it's just a random day off. That is not a holiday. Mark off the holidays, mark off fall break, mark off Thanksgiving break, Christmas break, put in the game schedule, put in the practice schedule. I'm going to do all of that first in my calendar. And then I'm going to go through and say, okay, this is when I'm going to host a workshop. This is when I'm going to have the custom cash challenge again. This is when I'm going to do this special event for my program, Empowered for More, for the ladies in there. We're going to do this extra, like I call them labs, but we're going to do a lab where we're working on this activity. And I'm going to go put that on the calendar. And I'm going to map that out as well as are there any retreats or summits that I want to go to for my own growth? Do I need to put those on the calendar? Because those are also happening as well during the fall. So lots of things going on. So we want to make sure our calendar reflects our family first and then our business and see what time we have available. It's really, really important to understand what time you have available in your business to be able to then say, hey, how does this work into the custom cash formula of what I want to get? So when we talk about what your goals are for income, if you and I were to sit down and say, what this is my income goal, I definitely can map out for you how to reach that income goal, but if I don't know what your hours are available, we may be setting you up for failure. And so one of the things I teach, and I do this challenge multiple times a year, it'll be coming up in September again, so stay tuned for it. It might actually be the next week of August. We're going to be doing the custom cash challenge again, where we're going to walk through how do you make sure that you are priced correctly, that you know exactly how many clients you need for success to reach your goals, that there's so many things in there, but we are going to map out exactly how you can target that income goal that you have for quarter 4. And then what are the actions? Because the next thing is then getting back into what are my profit priorities. If you hang out with me for any amount of time, you know I'd like talking about profit priorities because when we have never ending to-do lists like we do as moms, where literally I could write 4 notebook pages right now of the things on my to-do list, but that's a distraction and they're not all needed to be done today. And if I have a limited amount of time, which most of us have very limited amount of time together or in our businesses, I'm got to know what is on that list that should be prioritized that is going to lead to the best profit opportunities. If you know that, if you are able to determine those things, you're going to see so much more success in less time because you're not spinning your wheels. You're not throwing spaghetti at the wall. You're not doing something that is going to bring you pennies. You're doing things that are going to bring you thousands of dollars. And I don't want you to be in 10-cent action. I want you to be in 10K action. That's the difference. So preparing for the sprint with those actions, this is all of the things that we work together inside Empower for Profit to Profit More, because we want you to be able to find that flexibility and freedom. You can build a multi six-figure business in 20 to 25 hours a week that is completely accessible to you with intention, with preparation, with priorities really mapped out and your custom cash formula, your calendar very clear. And this is how you're going to do it without the mom guilt, without missing out on all your family time, without overkilling and exhausting yourself, because that is not fun. And that is not why we got into these businesses, so that we can be burnt out and exhausted. Don't do that. That's not what we're here for. Then, after setting those initial prepping for success, I want to also look at sustainability. Sustainability doesn't come with consistency necessarily. I really want you to remember that we don't have to be consistent in order to be successful. But we do have to be committed and building sustainability. So when you look at your SOPs, when you evaluate your workflows, when you build that rhythm that avoids the October burnout crash because you just went overkill, once the kids go back to school, you're like, I'm in nutso mode. No, 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 my friend. Let's not do that. Let's not go into full on lose our minds and overwork and then burn out and crash. We want sustainability for to map the rest of the season after the sprint. So if you are like me and you're like, hey, I really want to do a cash influx in the next few weeks, awesome. Let's do it. But let's do it with intentionality and then build the sustainability to match that in the long run. The next one is also to think about your family foundations for your CEO lifestyle. Really, really being intentional, whether it's bringing in support for your family, or are you mapping out systems for your family to support all the activities and the actions that you're doing? The number one thing I start with is because I have six kids and I have four boys who are extreme, like they eat so much, guys, so much food. But we can't be without protein, guys, because the hangriness with when we don't have enough protein is real bad. So we want a lot of protein in our home, ready to eat as soon as possible when they get in the door. That takes planning. So making meal plans and then batching and prepping your meals so that way you're not driving through the drive-through, you're not eating something that is not nutritious and that's going to make your body feel sluggish and then your brain feel sluggish and then again feel behind. We want you to really be ahead of it. So incorporating like mom strategies into your lifestyle or even like homemaking strategies is good for business. It's good for business. Again, streamlining your routines. Use that transition period to get back into routines for them, for yourself, all of those things. Like I'm excited to be even get back into a morning routine where I'm doing more intentional quiet time yoga. I know how good that is for me, and it's easy to let it go when everybody is home and crazy. So I'm really looking forward to that. But then streamlining what do the kids' routines look like, making more efficient systems in the house. I just did a big reset of our back entryway because it's like this is chaotic and it feels good for summer, but not what we need for school. So I'm going to reset that. And again, here's a little extra tip. Sync your family calendar. That was something that my husband and I did this year at the beginning of the year, and it was game changer. I gave him access, full access to all of my calendar and vice versa, because we need to be able to see what the other one is doing. It's not just a typical 9 to 5, but we're tag teaming on a lot of things. So we really need to know where the other one is going to be and what conflicts we have and how we're going to handle them. So don't look at the family foundational systems and support that you're putting into place as something that is a distraction from your business. It's actually going to allow you to do more because you won't be running around like a chicken with your head cut off, and you'll be able to be more present without the guilt and all of that. So make sure you do that. And then also put on that list to reintegrate your personal routines, your own health habits, your own mindset habits and resets, the small daily actions that are keeping you aligned and focused. How can you get back to them? What have you let go? And you can tell, hey, the mindset work is lacking or slacking, and I can tell because it's affecting how I'm showing up in my business and my actions. So, what can you bring back into your integration? For me, that is meditation, that is journaling or intentional note taking, where I'm documenting some things, as well as doing breath work and making sure my mindset is clear. Very important. And then the last one I want you to think about is just some extra ideas is again, going back to networking. After the summer slowdown, maybe you weren't able to go to everything because the kids were there, you can't take them with you. Hey, it's time to get out, whether it's going to a digital networking meeting, because if you have a little one and you can't go out, you still like, hey, some of my kids are in school, but some are still at home. Go to some digital networking thing online. And then also in person, can you re-engage with community? How can you make sure you're getting this? Schedule out your CEO days. This is another big deal. Don't just like book every minute you're available on your calendar. Schedule intentional time every month that you are really focusing on the business, the strategy, the growth from a CEO level, not just a solopreneur manager level. Then it's the perfect time to reconnect with your past clients, your leads that have been saying, hey, at the end of summer or when the kids go back to school, this is the time to connect with them for that follow-up, which is key. Maybe even checking back in with somebody that you talked to at the beginning of the year. I just told this to one of our clients in Empowered for More, who was telling me, she's like, I really need to make some more sales, but I'm just not getting the leads that I wanted. So we talked about her re-engaging and touching points with the people that she talked to in January who were telling her, hey, I'm not quite ready yet to take action, and kind of ghosted her. This is a great time for her to say, hey, how are you doing? Did you ever reach those goals? Are you on target? Because they might be at this time like, no, I'm not even close. And I should have signed up with you in January. Well, here's the perfect opportunity. So make sure you're doing that. And then also planning your quarter four promotions right now before it gets crazy and before you get in the weeds and before you get into the never ending to-do list. Let's plan out what the promotions are and coordinate them with the goals that you have for cash. If this is something you're like, hey, Lonnie, I am integrating some of these ideas, but I still just don't know exactly how I'm going to reach all my goals and juggle everything all together. I don't know what system to use. I can't even get it out of my brain. I've tried other things. My friend, I hear you. I'm a mom of six, and I've been frustrated like that too, many times where I feel like that sounds great, but how do I do this? Because this, I hear how it's working for you, but how does this work for me? And if you're feeling that disconnect at all, or maybe you want somebody to look at your goals for the rest of the year and say, hey, how do I use what I've already built to leverage to get to this big accomplishment that I want to reach at the end of the year? Whether it's, you know, busting out your first four, multiple 4K month, where like 2 to 9,000, or maybe you're like scaling past your first 10K and you're like, this is where I'm headed. I'm building a six-figure business, or you're ready to scale to multiple six, seven figures. I would love to chat with you. Here's what we're doing right now. We have openings right now for Empowered for More. And if you have not heard about our program Empowered for More is a uniquely designed community-based coaching program that is customized to every person in the room. And it's a choose your level of support options where you get to come in at wherever level you are at, how we would like to be supported, you can choose. And it is designed that no matter what level you choose, you get that hyper customization and support that you've been missing. And someone to come in beside you and say, here's how we can help you jumpstart into the action. Because that's the hardest part is when we are trying to decide what to do. Sometimes we get lost in the decisions or the possibilities that the action is so difficult because we've been overthinking it and thinking and thinking and thinking, or we end up just doing spaghetti at the wall and we have no idea what worked and what didn't work. So if you've been like, I just want somebody there, I don't want supportive community. I want people in my corner. I want customized strategy. I want tools at my disposal immediately. The doors are open right now. You can check out our all the details for Empowered for More in the show notes there. And then we also have two spots right now open for high level customized support for one-on-one exclusive customized coaching. And this is, again, I only take a few of these at a time because I want to make sure I have availability. But there are two one-on-one coaching spots, and this is like high level, a lot of attention. You and I really digging into your business, really going deep. And it's not just me talking at you and giving you more on your to-do list, but rather we're going to dive in and take away some of the things on your list and integrate things in real time so that every time we talk, you're jump started into the next action and you're accelerated in your goal and support. Stay tuned to the podcast because we're going to be talking a little bit more about some of the support that I think is missing in our coaching culture right now and what we're doing about it in our programs, as well as some of the success that the ladies are seeing in the program and why it's successful for them because of the customizing they're doing in their own strategies. And I'm so excited to share some of this behind the scenes. If your kids are starting school this week, may the odds be ever in your favor with them getting up on time. If you're hearing my dog in the background, he's also barking at the kids because he's like, it's time for them to go. So I totally hear you with all of the transition. You've got this. You don't give up. Don't let the mom guilt seek in. Don't overextend. Be intentional and be excited. This is amazing. This is such a fun season of getting back into the routines. And guys, it's going to be cozy fall season and the candle scents. They're my favorites. I can't wait. I can't wait. So I'm excited to keep sharing this. Let's talk some more. If you want to talk more about what you're doing to transition your business and hear more thoughts and ideas from other people in other women in business in this society, we're going to be creating some conversations around that and would love for you to join us if you are not already a part of it. Or if you are a part of it, it's time to re-engage in the community and get back to getting your attention on your business. Really, that's what it's for. So come join us in there. And again, thanks for listening, and we'll talk to you soon. Thanks for actually joining us today. I hope it inspired you to actually take the action to step into the empowered CEO that you are and getting more of the results that you want. Before you go, I have a quick favor. Leave us a review and take a screenshot of this episode and share it with your friends and on your favorite social media channels. Don't forget to tag us, actually.thepodcast and Lonnie J. Jackson. And we'll see you next week on another episode.